CTV News with Angela Mackenzie.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. After years of debate, the City of Montreal has decided police officers will be equipped with body cameras. The goal is to increase accountability and have an objective view of interactions with police. But as Kelly Gregg reports, the mayor admits it's not a perfect solution.
It's a new measure to track police interactions. 6,500 officers and 600 patrol cars will soon be equipped with cameras.
These tools can provide a more objective record of police intervention and contribute to greater transparency and accountability.
It's probably high time that we bring this level of transparency into police investigations to avoid a lot of the chatter and ambiguity that surrounds investigations when it's really just a question of one person's word against another's.
The chief saying officers will have to record interactions, and only under specific circumstances like meeting a sexual assault or child abuse victim can they turn the cameras off.
I can tell you one thing. One of our objectives, and is if we don't do it, we're going to lose the credibility. We cannot just decide, we put it on. Oh, wait, the intervention is changing, let's put it off. No. There's no way.
While body cameras were a mayoral election promise, the decision comes as the force suspended officers over allegations of racism in Montreal North.
That's Station 39. And we have that kind of scandal, racism, and the population is asking for it. Absolutely. Absolutely. We should show those videos.
The city also wants to pass a bylaw which would prevent someone from insulting or intimidating a municipal employee. In July, a man who allegedly made several derogatory videos regarding police officers was charged with libel. One of the questions the bylaw will have to address is what constitutes an interaction, an insult, or a threat, and what is the line between them.
If you tell a police officer to F off, it's probably the type of remark that could result justifiably in the issuance of a ticket. Do I agree with it? Maybe not. I think the police should be able to put up with that type of remark.
Both measures come with the chief pledging to rebuild trust with Montrealers. Is this enough to restore that confidence?
The answer is no. I mean, there's much work to be done and many conversations to have. Again, this is one of the tools, but this is not the magic tool.
The city hopes to have the first cameras in the field within the next year. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
Quebec's police watchdog is looking into a car crash in Laval that killed 2 people. Early in the morning of August 5th, a driver trying to flee police smashed into a building in Laval. 2 people in that car died following the crash. Police tried to pull over the car for highway code violations, and although police said they quickly gave up their pursuit, the car kept speeding away. Well, the RCMP has arrested a teen in Montreal who is believed to have possibly been planning an attack on a school. The investigation began several weeks ago following a tip from the FBI. The suspect allegedly used artificial intelligence in the potential planning of an attack. The teen was expected to appear in court today. Well, starting in December, Quebec pharmacists will be given new responsibilities. They'll be able to test for common illnesses and refill prescriptions without consulting a doctor. Here's Matt Gilmore with the details and some of the concerns.
Pharmacist Judith Choquette is busy getting her pharmacy in Longueuil ready for major changes.
We have the computer, we have a place to actually discuss with the patient.
Private consultation rooms could soon be the new norm for pharmacies. Starting December 9th, pharmacists will be allowed to screen for common illnesses and in some cases prescribe medications.
I know exactly how to treat you. I know exactly which antibiotics I could give you, but right now I cannot do that.
In December, she will. She'll also be able to refill certain prescriptions and adjust medications without sending patients back to a doctor.
We have a lot of orphan patients, we call them, and this new measure will help us to help those patients. And when we feel the patient should see a doctor, then we refer them to the 811 service.
The government hopes that will speed up the process. It's welcome news for patients' advocates.
We need to multiply the healthcare givers for all services and care that patients need. This is how we're going to reduce the pressure.
But family doctor Michael Kalin has concerns.
Now you have somebody diagnosing you with a condition and then selling you the medicine indefinitely. Doctors can't do that. Nurse practitioners can't do that.
The Order of Pharmacists does have strict rules and oversight powers that both Choquette and Brunet believe will prevent abuse.
I trust the order that such surveillance will be held.
We're professionals. We can recommend a treatment. We will recommend the best treatment. I don't think it is going to be a problem.
Not all pharmacies will be ready to provide these additional services on December 9th. Many will have to make major operational changes, and finding qualified staff is a challenge. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Parti Québécois leader Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon confirmed today that a PQ government would scrap Santé Québec. Plamondon says a PQ government would use the money spent on Santé Québec and invest it directly in hospitals and health care. Santé Québec was created in 2024. The healthcare management agency became the sole employer of the staff in the Health and Social Services Network. According to Plamondon, the bureaucracy is getting out of control.
It's not about reforming, but reducing the size of the number of people deciding the same thing. So we're going to decentralize, abolish Santé Québec, and make sure that there are less bureaucracy and people managing the same thing, because we've just been through a rise of 900 employees to manage the exact same health network while the services are not improving. So it's just going to be a reduced size and a more coherent and decentralized system.
Meanwhile, Santé Québec says it's been successful in acquiring new land to expand and upgrade Maisonneuve-Rosemont Hospital. The provincial agency says it bought the land for $30 million, meaning renovations announced earlier this year can now go ahead. That renovation project is expected to last 10 years. A new law limiting who can attend English language CEGEPs and some of the CAQ's immigration reforms are affecting the schools in a mix of ways. Some are turning away more applicants than usual due to a lack of space. Others are reportedly struggling with a decline in international students. And many CEGEPs are also dealing with aging infrastructure. The new head of Dawson College, Toby Harper-Merritt, commented on the challenges Dawson and other CEGEPs are facing.
Yeah, we're trying to make things fit within very strict envelopes, very strict budgetary constraints that produce inefficiencies in the system, both space-wise and enrollment-wise. It's not falling apart like we're seeing in some other cases across the network, but we do have to manage investment that is quite strictly the envelopes are quite strictly directed, and it doesn't allow us to be proactive. We're sort of replacing or renovating rather than doing preventative maintenance.
The fall semester for most CEGEPs began yesterday. Well, on the campaign trail, the Liberal leader is in Quebec City to talk about small businesses. Charles Milliard says if elected, a Liberal government would make changes to how contracts are awarded and how quickly companies are paid. He also pledged to get rid of a law that forces the government to accept the lowest bidder, saying that all too often that means accepting the worst quality material that breaks down quickly.
In the long run, it will prevent us from redoing stuff or rebuying stuff earlier because it was cheaper. So obviously we're going to be providing more studies and more data on that, but I think the signal needs to be clear. A Liberal government will end this rule, and it's pretty good news for SMEs throughout Quebec.
Meantime, the Quebec Conservative Party says it's planning deep cuts in government spending if elected in October. Leader Éric Duhaime says the party would cut $47 billion in government programs, including subsidies and loans to businesses. The party would also cut $20,000 of government posts, mainly through attrition.
So basically, we're going to cut grants to corporations over a 3-year period. That's $20 billion saved right there, 20 out of 47. The second part is controlling expenses. So looking at the programs, we keep adding programs and programs and programs in Quebec without never, evaluating, are they working? Are they worth it? Are they redundant?
Pouliot is running as a candidate for the Quebec Conservatives in Montreal's Darcy McGee riding. We have more election coverage on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Well, a former Montreal Alouettes coach and player is entering federal politics. Luc Brodeur-Jourdain was an offensive line coach for the team and spent 11 seasons as an offensive lineman for the Alouettes. He's hoping to become the Conservative Party candidate for the upcoming federal by-election in Saint-Hyacinthe-Bagot-Acton. Brodeur-Jourdain says he wants to represent the region where he was born and raised. Schwartz's has had to move on from a popular menu item. The Cott brand of black cherry soda is no longer available at the deli. The general manager says the cost of aluminum is too expensive, so it has to turn to a local product. Matt Grillo has more.
It's an iconic Montreal staple, Schwartz's smoked meat sandwich, and for decades, so many customers paired it with Cott black cherry soda. But General Manager Frank Silva says those days are gone.
The distributor told me that they're no longer producing it, and that was back in March, I think, because of the cost of aluminum.
He assumes tariffs on aluminum are to blame. Refresco, the company that owns Cott, did not reply to our request for comment. Black cherry soda is a big seller at Schwartz's. Silva says he would order 100 cases of 12 cans a week.
It was too costly. I mean, Cott used to have cola, apple nectar, ginger ale. Used to have all those products before in the 80s when I started. But then it wasn't selling, so canceled. Then it was only black cherry. But now, Schwartz is probably the only place I was selling substantial numbers of black cherry.
Like so many businesses during this trade war, Schwartz's has had to pivot. It's now serving black cherry soda from a local company.
We got something called Fletcher's black cherry, which is local. Tastes very good. Some people think it tastes better.
It's just as good, just as nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd say it's a little more subtle than the Cotts, but it's still just as good.
Silva admits some customers would come just for the black cherry soda.
I was tied to the brand till it's not anymore. So now people don't stop coming to Schwartz's because black cherry is not here. They still come in.
Because it's all about the smoked meat.
As long as you have smoked meat, it's okay.
That's the priority.
That's a priority.
He admits if Cott becomes available again, Schwartz's will bring it back. But the deli would have 2 black cherry colas on the menu. Let the customer decide. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
There's a tick-borne illness on the rise that's more serious than Lyme disease. Quebec's top spreader of Lyme disease, the deer tick, is also spreading anaplasmosis. Early symptoms are similar to flu symptoms, but the disease can also lead to organ failure and brain damage, with more than 40% of cases leading to hospitalization. Scientific advisor Kristen Crandall says efforts are underway to deal with the spread.
We have to learn to adapt, and that's why putting in place those preventative measures, making them part of your routine, especially if you're in high-risk areas. I live in a high-risk area. If I've been outdoors, every time I come back in, I just do one quick examination, because the quicker we do those different preventative measures, and if we do that exam at the end of an activity, the quicker those ticks can be taken off, and really that's how to prevent acquiring these different diseases.
Almost all of the cases were reported in the eastern townships and Montérégie. Well, West Island commuters will soon have an easier time finding parking spots at some REM stations. Pierrefonds-Roxborough Mayor Jim Bass says the Sunnybrook REM station will soon have another 120 free parking spaces. Another 200 parking spots will be available at the Pierrefonds-Roxborough station by the end of the month. That brings the total parking spots at those 2 stations to almost 1,300. A reminder, major work is taking place on the Champlain Bridge this weekend. The southbound lanes of the Champlain closed tonight and reopen Monday morning. There are detours, and it's expected to be congested if you're trying to get to Nuns Island. The closure will also affect a number of exits and entry ramps around the Turcotte interchange, including Highway 20 eastbound heading towards the 15 and the de la Vérandre entrance from the 15 south. We have full details on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Up next, a Quebec-born researcher leading a unique scientific mission in the Arctic. There's some new films out this week, including one that is already setting box office records for horror. And Chris Bumbray joins us once again to talk about this and other things going on this weekend. Thanks for being here.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Angela.
So, Chris, Out of the Further is the 6th installment in the Insidious franchise. Let's take a look.
How are you doing today? All right. I'm just gonna take a look inside. Looks like there's something stuck in here.
Okay, that's a big nope for me, Chris. What did you think of it?
You know, I'm a big horror fan, but it takes a lot to kind of creep me out. And I found this to be actually pretty tame. I've always enjoyed the series, but to me, I've always thought of them as kind of gateway horror, like horror for kids that are just getting into horror movies for the first time. My problem with them is that it's always just jump scares. There's no real terror in these films. That said, for a late summer kind of date horror movie, it's not a bad one. But, you know, we're in the dog days of summer now, so you're not going to get the best movies in theaters. But, you know, the other movie that's opening this weekend is a film called Mutiny with Jason Statham, which is another one of his kind of, you know, beating people up movies. My problem with Jason Statham is that he never takes a punch in any of these films, and I find that kind of boring as far as action movies go when the hero is too indestructible. But here's an interesting thing about Mutiny, and it's not bad for what it is. It actually leaked in its entirety online by Amazon. They posted it on their Prime Video service the other day. It was up there for about 4 hours, and it was seen by pretty much everybody that wanted to see the movie in the first place and leaked online. And it is apparently going to lead to lawsuits that are going to go into the multi-millions, because it's already affecting the film's box office performance because people are just watching it for free online. The internet is just filled with copies of the film, and it sets a precedent because something like this has never happened before, especially from a company the size of Amazon.
Well, you got to feel pretty bad for the employee who might be responsible for that happening.
Not good.
So I am looking forward, Chris, though, to this one. The Asian night market is happening this weekend at Royal Mount.
It is, yes. So from 5 to 10 every night. Apparently there's going to be 120 kind of different signature dishes. Like you saw, there's going to be lion dancing, there's going to be food, there's going to be music, there's going to be vendors. I mean, the Royal Mount is a great spot to have something like this. It's really cool that they're doing it at nighttime. I think that kind of adds a little something to it. So yeah, it's on all weekend long till 10 o'clock each night, but doesn't start until 5.
I'm sure it's going to be delicious. And Chris, Lion King is going to be performing here in Montreal, but only for a limited time.
Yes, until Labor Day weekend. It is the latest Broadway play to come to Place des Arts, the touring company. Do you know that this is actually the 3rd longest running Broadway play of all time and the highest grossing Broadway play ever? Has those famous costumes by Julie Taymor. It is one of the most famous Broadway shows of all, and I love that Place des Arts does this. I think their next one actually is going to be one of my favorites, Book of Mormon. So they're always worth going to see at Salle Wilfrid Pelletier.
And it seems Charlotte Cardin has had to cancel a number of shows in France. What's going on there?
So apparently she has she's having problems with her vocal cord injury. This is something that happens to a lot of singers, though. I mean, Adele famously had to take a couple of years off. You know, Meghan Trainor, she had several vocal cord surgeries. So yeah, like you said, Charlotte Cardin, she's taken something like her next 4 shows off in France. She's doing a big tour of Europe. Hopefully she bounces back quickly, because a voice infection or a vocal cord infection like this for somebody in her position is definitely not something that something for sure to take seriously.
Well, we wish her a speedy recovery. Thanks, Chris, and have a good weekend.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
12 researchers are set to intentionally freeze a workstation in the Arctic ice and drift for 8 long months, all in the name of science. And a Quebec-born researcher is leading this unique mission. CTV's Garrett Barry explains.
The 26-meter-long Terra Polar Station is home for now for Quebec-born researcher Maxime Geoffroy, a scientist with the Marine Institute in St. John's. He and his team of 11 other sailors are in Norway tonight for last-minute preparations before a trip of a lifetime.
So it seems like it's going to be the start of something that is a bit nerve-wracking. In reality, I think it will be a bit of relief that finally we reached it.
Soon they'll drive their vessel deep into the Arctic ice and will drift at the mercy of the ice flows while conducting environmental research on the ice in the ocean.
In that sense, we're like astronauts that have been trained to collect data and do science for many other groups.
It'll be 8 months before Geoffroy and his team will get replaced by a second team of scientists and get to go home.
That would be first as well. So that's learning how to navigate and cope with this and do good science in this kind of environment. To me, is quite exciting.
The expedition is run by the Terra Ocean Foundation. The entirety of the boat's trip through the Arctic ice is expected to take more than a year. The journey aiming to study the place most hard hit by climate change, mapping the ice, the snow, the plankton underneath, and the gases in the sky.
The climate is kind of accelerating, climate change, and I think the Arctic is is where they have the answer of what's going to be the fate of the future.
It took many tests to ensure the crew were capable of what will be a taxing and demanding trip. They'll spend more than 4 months in polar night with very little exposure to the sun. Geoffroy says as a boy from northern Quebec, he's maybe a bit more prepared than most for the cold, the dark, and the thrill of this journey. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
When we return, the Street Fest vibes are going strong in NDG.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
In NDG, people are flocking to Monkland Avenue for the Imagine Monkland Street Festival. The street is pedestrian only this weekend between Girard and Melrose. There's live music and other entertainment, and Monkland is packed with kiosks featuring merchants, local organizations, and lots of delicious treats.
Oh my God, the lemonade. To die for it. It's so good.
And we love it very much. It's fantastic, great community vibes. Everyone's out and about enjoying the end of the summer.
Well, I love the street food, all the people. It's really a lot of fun.
The festival continues from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. tomorrow and 10 to 7 on Sunday.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, despite the cooler temperatures these last few mornings, it could be worse. Looking at our almanac, if we take a look at the record low, that number is at 4.1 degrees. We hit that in 1982. Luckily, we aren't seeing anything that cold for now. And we're certainly holding on to the summer weather with our expected highs. Today it was at 26, and tomorrow is expected to be even warmer. But here's what's coming tonight, a low of 14 degrees along with clear skies, some light easterly winds. As we head into tomorrow morning, we're looking at a temperature of 16 degrees to wake up along with a sunny start. And there is even more sunshine expected as we head into the afternoon, though we could see just a few clouds rolling in. But look at that daytime high, a temperature of 27 degrees to look forward to. That's what's coming our way. Take that in because according to our futurecast, Sunday could look pretty different. So we see some of those clouds starting to work their way in at around 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. But it's not until Sunday when we really see those overcast skies, and that's going to be for really much of the greater Montreal area. We're also seeing the system of rain that is expected to work its way over as we head into Sunday and possibly even Monday. And by Sunday, that could bring us up to 8 millimeters of showers. So keep that in mind. We could also see thunder along with that and seeing similar conditions in the skies as we head into Monday as well. On Monday, looking at a 60% chance of roughly 4 millimeters coming in. So keep that in mind. But for Tuesday and Wednesday, we are seeing great news with a return of some of that sunshine. So mostly cloudy skies on Tuesday, looking at a mix of sun and cloud come Wednesday. Take that in because by Thursday and Friday, we could be back to some of those thunder showers. So we're looking at a 60% chance of that on Thursday. That moves up to a 70% chance come this time next week. That is to say, get ready to see a lot more of that mixed weather.
Thanks, Anastasia. Well, that's it for us. For the latest news, you can listen to the Joanne Vraka Show tomorrow morning at 6 or head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.